Yeah, it still looks blurry.
Yeah, it does. Oh, that looks better. I think it is smudged. I think
Oh, you know what? It might be that I've got too much light. No, that's not it. That's not it.
when you wiped it, it does seem like it helped. I would say if you have like a cloth or something, you might want to wipe a little cloth on the front of it.
Okay, let me get
On what now?
a cloth to clean the camera is smudgy.
Oh.
Let's see how that. Yeah, it still looks a little smudgy.
It does.
Yeah.
Let's see if it. No. Oh, maybe it's the light. Turn out. Maybe I did lights, and maybe I wanted to be more lit. Turn that light off. Let's see.
No.
No.
It's not
Close
the
the
light.
door.
It's
Just.
not the light.
Uh-huh.
It's not the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what the issue is. It's just poor resolution. I mean, I can.
I mean, so when you have it pointed lower like that, it looks clearer for some reason.
Yeah.
But
It's not
part
great.
of it is just that it's pixelated, probably because the connection isn't great. But
that might be it. So if I sit back and if I go up like that, it's not so good.
It's worse.
Yeah. If the lower down
yeah,
I
would
am,
say
the
keep
better.
The camera pointed kind of low because that seems to be better.
Yeah. Okie doke.
All right.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Sammy. Bye-bye.
Want me to take this?
Oh, yeah. Well, hello, Shabbat Shalom. I apologize. The resolution isn't so great, but I think you can still see me. I hope you've had a good week and am honored and happy that you're with me today. So I'm going to call Joni, and she'll light the Shabbat candles.
I don't have a tray.
Hmm?
I don't have a tray.
Oh, no.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Okay, let's all turn to in our books page 10 or page 128 and sing together how good it is, how sweet it is that all of us are here together. Let me see if I can give a little more light. There we go. Oh, that's too much. Okay. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה לה לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, יאללה לה לה יאללה לה 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 מה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, יאללה לה 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 יאללה לה לה לה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, יאללה לה לה יאללה לה 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 מה. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. Page 8 or 126. I'm going to read this in English, and if you want, join with me if you have it. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services. But I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. We'll sing about how beautiful this day is. Ma Yafeh Hayom. It's back on 10 or 128. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. 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 Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Bottom of page 11 or 129. Elech Hamda Libi, God is my heart's desire. Appear to me, God, do not hide. Elech Hamda Libi, Chusana ve'al natitalem. Elech Hamda Libi, Chusana ve'al natitalam. Elech Hamda Libi, Husana 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 ve'al natitalam. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Elech Hamda Libi, Husana ve'al natitalam. You, dear God, are my heart's delight. Appear to me. Please do not hide. Please stand up with me as we do the Baruch Hu together as a congregation. You're going to find this on page 28 or 146. So let me stand back so you can see me. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamivorach, Baruch Adonai, Hamivorach, Le'olam va'amed, Hamivorach, Le'olam va'amed. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. And everybody, if you're standing up, now you can sit down. And let's turn now to page 31 or 149. Top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way in which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariniv, aravimim. Page 32 or 150. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. And in Hebrew, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Vavavtama, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limad etama. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, B'shachbeinu u'muvkumbeinu, Nasiach b'chukei b'chama, V'nishmach b'divrei Toratcha, U'v'mitzvotecha, Li'om v'olam v'amed, Ki heim chayenu v'yorech yameinu, V'yorech yamem b'veidumu, U'vahem negeh yomam v'layla, Yomam v'layla v'yavatcha al tasir mimenu liyom olamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Page 34 or 152. We cover our eyes for the first 6 words in Hebrew of the Shema as we focus on God's presence with us here right now. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. The commandment to love God, V'ahavta, 36 or 154. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha, u'v'chol nafshecha, u'v'chol meodecha, v'hayevu hadvarim ha'ele, Asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levademecha v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'v'lechtecha v'demerech, u'v'shachbecha u'v'kumbecha, u'kishartam li'ot al yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot b'eineinecha, Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvishabemecha leman tizkeruhu vasitem ekol mitzvotai v'heitem kedoshim leloechem ahani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Translation on 37 or 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you're tired or you're rested, let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. And when God led us out of Egypt and gave us the gift of freedom, we sang this song, 40 or 158, Mi Chamocha. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 I love my la my mi chamo mocha my lima dum bom nai mi chamo mocha Nehedar bakom vomdesh, no ratihilot, obosei feleme, malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze eli anu, v'ahameru, Adonai yimloch, Leolam va'avimed v'nemar kifada Adonai et Yaakov u'gialo miyad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael v'mel ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la la. Who is like you, O God, among all the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you? Majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming us. Page 43 or 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. V'al Yerushalayim v'al kol amo v'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. Page 44 or 162, the Vishamru. We'll read this first in English and then we'll sing it together in Hebrew. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat. Observing Shabbat throughout the ages is a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotamam berit olamam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti li'olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti li'olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai Et hashamayim v'yet haaretz v'yom hashvi'i shavavavat v'yin nafash Lai 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 lai, I lai 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 la mai, yai lai lai lai, I lai la lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai la mai. In a few moments, we'll pray the silent prayer. We do this individually. We stand up for it. And when we finish our prayer, we sit down. You can use the words 155 to 167 or 273 to 286, but please include the prayer of your own heart, or you can just speak directly from your heart to God. If you're still praying, continue silently. If you've finished your prayers, join with me. Ay 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 my ay 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 ay. Ay 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 yay 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 ay 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 lay lay yay lay 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 yay lay yay la la lay yay lay la lay yay lay 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 yay lay yay la la lay yay lay la la lay yay lay 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 yay la 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 lay 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 yay la 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 lay 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 yay la 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 lay 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 yay lay 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 yay la 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 lay 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 yay la 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 lay 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 yay la 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 lay 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 yay lay 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 lay. Well, a few words of Torah. The portion for this week is called Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha, and it goes in Hebrew, Lech Lecha me'artzecha u'mi moladetecha u'mi beit avicha el hamakom asher ereka. Get thee out from your birthplace, from your land, from your birthplace, and go out from your father's house and go out to the place that I'm going to show you. So the beginning of this parsha tells Abraham to go out, to leave his land, And as some of you may have surmised, I'm reading Shalom Aleichem, and his Yiddish story is translated into English. And he has a story called Get Thee Out. This is where Tevye is told by the officials, you're a Jew, you have to leave. And he says, well, this is a lesson of the Torah, Lech Lecha, get you out. And not only is a lesson now, it's a lesson over and over again, because we Jews continue to be told, get out, you got to go somewhere else. As you can imagine, Tevye says what he always says, God, maybe you could tell somebody else to get out, like maybe somebody who has more resources, like a Rothschild, let him get out. Let me stay at home where I am. But many of us who are Jewish, fortunately, those of us who live in America haven't had this experience, but many of our grandparents and generations going back have been told, get out and go somewhere else. The hope and the prayer given by Abraham and for Abraham is that the land that you go to will be the land that God wants us to go to, that God points out for us. Now, in this parsha, it's the first time that Abraham is called Ha'ivri, or it's often translated the Hebrew. But where does that come from? And there are a couple explanations of it that the rabbis at the time of the Midrash give. But one of them is, well, the word aver means side. Ivri can mean the one of the side. And so what the rabbis say is, Rabbi Judah said, Ivri means the one who is on the other side. And that refers to the one who is on one side while the whole world is on the other side. Well, Abraham is the one, when everybody else is different, he stands for what he believes in. And specifically in this Midrash, they talk about those who are idolaters. Everybody else in the world was an idolater, except for Abraham. He stood on the other side, and he didn't let other people influence him against that. Although he listened to God, he listened to his wife, he was willing to listen to people, hear what they had to say. But when he knew it was right, and especially he knew that he wanted to worship the one God, he was independent and wasn't budged. Now, although the Midrash says that he was on the other side because he wasn't an idolater, he worshiped the true God, we also know that Abraham was a man of great integrity, of great compassion, and he stood for compassion even when everybody else was against him. So, I mean, the lesson here, I think, is if we want to be like Abraham, and we know everybody else is saying something that we know in our hearts, we really know is wrong, even if we're one person, we have to stand on the other side. But that doesn't mean that we should be arrogant or contemptuous to people on the other side. And in fact, the rabbis go on to say that if we're on one side and everybody else is on the other side, maybe we should try to bring them over to our side, especially if we're working hard, as Abraham did, to serve God and to live an ethical life. So there's another verse. It's actually Genesis 14, verse 12. Then v'hanefesh asher asu b'charan v'yitzeu lalechet arza Canaan. So Abraham left the land of Haran, and he went with all the people who he had with him to the land of Canaan. And all the people that he had with him is in Hebrew, asher asu, hanefesh, asher asu. Literally, that can be translated, the soul that they made. And so here's what the rabbis say. We learn from this verse that Abraham would bring people into his house, give them food and drink, make friends with them, and attract them to him, and then convert them to the Jewish faith and bring them under the wings of the Shekhinah, God's presence. You learn that if you bring one person under the wings of the Shekhinah, it is if you have created that person anew. You've created a new person. You've shaped that person. You've articulated that person's limbs. So if Abraham converts somebody, that person becomes a new person. The term we've heard again is born again, but really it's created a new person or created a new nefesh, a new soul. Now, a lot of times we think that the soul is something that God breathes into us, that God gives us. Traditionally, we believe there's a treasury of souls, and God puts that soul into our body. But here there's an added idea of a soul, that a soul can be created by a person accepting the teachings of a righteous person. And here in particular talks about the creation of a Jewish soul, where a Jewish soul didn't yet exist. So one of the things we learn about this is that the soul can be created through our efforts, through the influence of other people. We also learn that maybe we should be like Abraham and help other people to have new souls. Now, a lot of us have heard and know that there's a tradition that Jews should encourage other people from converting to Judaism because, it's a hard life and you want to make sure people are sincere. But at the time of the rabbis who wrote the Midrash, some of them were skeptical of converting people, but there were people like Rabbi Hillel and others who felt, let's really make an effort to convert people because, after all, that'll enrich their lives. And so that's the second thing we get them there. You'll notice that the Hebrew said, Hanefesh asher asu, the soul that they made. Why does it say they rather than he? Why does it say the soul that they made rather than Abraham? Well, there's a plural here, they made. So the rabbi suggested here, Abraham made the souls for the men, but Sarah, his wife, made the souls for the women. So women were not left out, and there was a separation of genders. And Sarah is talked about as if, in this sense, she's an equal of Abraham, in that both of them are working together to bring people closer to God. Now, some of you will remember I wrote a little essay on the Bratslaver's story, the Turkey Prince. And one of the things that happened there is this, in the story, there's a prince who thinks he's a turkey, and the sage who cures him acts like a turkey and then gets him to do things that are more human and gets him gradually to behave like a prince. And what I said about that story is one of the lessons from it is a wise person who wants to change somebody else builds rapport, creates a sense of connection. And one of the things we learned from this is that you can create a sense of connection by being nice, by giving people food and drink and being kind towards them. So being like them is one way, acting like the turkey with somebody who acts like a turkey, but another way is just to show kindness to that person. And that brings the person over to hearing what you say to get them to be better. So our tradition says that we should do teshuvah and we should try to become better people, become more ethical, get closer to God. But also, we want to help other people to get closer to God and to do the right thing. And so we have to look at ourselves and make sure we're doing the right thing. But we also have the obligation to teach people to do the same. Now, in this Midrash, the story tells us that what Abraham is doing in creating a soul is bringing people over to Judaism. But I think we can amplify on that and extend it to making a new soul for people, or helping to make a new soul for people, even if they don't become Jewish. It's less important, I think, that people become Jewish, but it's more important that we take into heart the idea that we need to correct ourselves. But if we have influence on other people, we also ought to try to do what we can do to create rapport so we can help them to become better people. Now, sometimes people say, it's none of my business. It's a free country. People should be able to do what they want. And I don't want to be a nibby nose. I don't want to be somebody who's pushy. And obviously, you don't want to do things in a way that's coercive or impolite or arrogant. In fact, that probably won't work. But we're commanded not only to live a life of Torah, but also to help people to become closer to Torah, bring them closer. And you know what? We may not have a totally new soul, but maybe we can start to put up the scaffolding and to start building and building and building. We may not entirely get there, but we want to build our soul up. And we also want to build a new soul in those with whom we have influence, people that we come in contact with. As always, I'm interested in your thoughts. Please respond if you'd like. And again, Shabbat Shalom. Well, now we're going to sing together the Misha Beirach prayer, and you're going to find that on page 253 or 371. And among the people that I want to remember are in the congregation, our friends Danny and Judy, and my clients Stephanie, Beverly, and Sylvia, and all my other clients, but especially them, and my good friends Lisa and Steve. I especially want to remember my teacher, Rabbi Steve, and my friend and teacher, Rabbi Lucy. And if there are people that you want to say Misha Beirach for, say their names out loud or hold them in your heart. And join with me singing together on 253 or 371, Misha Beirach. Misha Beirach Avotenu Mikor Haberacha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Beirach Imotenu Mekor Haberacha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Let's now turn to the Aleinu. We're going to find that on page 282 or 586, and that's the bottom of the page. And please join me in singing, and please stand up. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gahora leinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu. So we've just praised the sovereign of the universe in Hebrew. We've proclaimed the greatness of the Creator, who set the Jewish people in a separate place, made a distinction between us and the other families of the earth, giving us a unique destiny. For that reason, we bent our knees and bowed down, acknowledging the supreme sovereign, the Holy One of blessing. Let's turn to 287 or 591. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. We express this hope with the Ne'emar. The Ne'emar, V'haya Adonai, Lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. We turn now to 294 or 598. Let's see if I can do that. Very good. And we're preparing to say the Mourner's Kaddish, and we especially want to remember the following people who have yard sites: Mervyn Needell, Harriet Gross, James Miller, Ethel Ross, Abraham Sweetbaum, Max Bennett, Ada Garfinkel, Esther Rausch, Richard Ryan Wetzel, Clara Lee Katz, and especially want to remember my friend Gwen Keston, who recently passed away. Together we recite the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yolama divrach chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon, וביומי חום, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מברך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה. דמירן בעולמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all people, to which we say, amen. We turn now to 322 or 626 for Ein Keloheinu. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Micheloheinu, Michadonenu, Michemalkeinu, Michemoshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Ya la 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 lai lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai 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 lai 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 lai, Yai 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 lai 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 lai, Yai 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 lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai 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 lai. We'll have Kiddush. This is page 5 or page 123. And if you have some wine, take that in hand and sing with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'red meshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher litziyat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidam v'avashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodecha v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Bim bum, bim 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 bum, bim 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 bum, bim bum, bim 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 bum, bim 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 bum. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Final blessing. If there's somebody you're blessing, put your hands on their shoulders or head, or if there's somebody not there, send it out, the blessing out. or if you're receiving the blessing, listen carefully and take it in. And repeat after me. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you. Ya'er Adonai Panav Elecha v'yichuneka. May God's face light up towards you, and may God be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha v'yasem Lecha Shalom. May God's face be lifted up towards you, and may God grant you peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon. So may it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom. Everybody have a great Shabbat, a great week. Be healthy, and God willing, we'll see you again on Friday. Shabbat Shalom.